Are you stuck doing the same old boring rotator cuff exercises or feeling like you've plateaued in your progress despite being consistently strengthening? Well, it is likely not just because those exercises are uninspired, but also because they are not offering much in terms of how the shoulder actually functions, which is why many stop improving. Sometimes you need to spice it up a bit to keep yourself motivated and get more out of your strengthening exercises. So in this video, I'll be sharing my top 4 favorite advanced rotator cuff exercises that will help reduce pain, enhance your strength, and improve the function of your shoulders. The primary role of the rotator cuff is to stabilize the shoulder joint, ensuring the arm bone stays centered in the joint during movements. A common issue for people with shoulder pain is a lack of control over the centering motion, leading to excessive joint movement that stresses the tendons and other tissues in the shoulder. So to reduce pain, you need to specifically train the rotator cuff's ability to stabilize the joint. But many people train their rotator cuff muscles in a very non-functional way, which has very little carryover to real life. And that's because these exercises don't train the primary function of the rotator cuff. Now, these exercises are quite challenging and should be modified to promote proper control. It's all about quality over quantity. If the reps are sloppy, you're defeating the purpose of the exercise. So if your form breaks down, go down in weight or perform less repetitions. As you get stronger and your control improves, then begin to progress the intensity of the exercise. These are not exercises that you're going to get super heavy with anyway, so I suggest performing around 2 to 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions for each exercise, using light to moderate weight. Remember, quality over quantity. The first exercise will be challenging both your ability to stabilize one shoulder, while also strengthening the rotator cuff of the other shoulder, so it makes for a very dynamic exercise. To perform, get into a side plank position by laying on your side and popping up on your elbow and knees. Holding the band with the top arm, perform a rowing motion by retracting your scapula, or shoulder blade. Once your elbow is at neutral, perform a slow shoulder external rotation movement, pausing at the top for a second and then slowly lowering and returning to the starting position. I like this exercise because it demands both stability of the arm that's on the surface and precise strength and control of the top arm. Now you can really spice this exercise up by going into a full plank, although make sure you have sufficient strength and control to do so. The next exercise may be my favorite high-level shoulder blade stability exercise. Your scapular muscles and your rotator cuff work closely together, and both need to function well for proper shoulder movement. This exercise is really going to target your traps and rhomboid muscles to enhance your ability to control shoulder movement. While standing, start by performing a mid-row and then externally rotating your shoulders so that your arm and elbow are in a 90-90 position. Next, press the band overhead, and while keeping your elbow straight, slowly bring your arm down to your side by your hip in an arcing motion. Then back up overhead. Return to the 90-90 position, and then slowly lower out of shoulder external rotation. Make sure throughout the entire exercise you keep the shoulders back in a nice upright posture. You'll know you lost stability of your shoulders if your shoulders start to round forward. Next, we are going to really focus on your rotator cuff's ability to maintain stability of the shoulder joint while the arm is elevated. This is the primary role of the rotator cuff, keeping the shoulder joint optimally aligned so there is less strain through the muscles of the shoulder. Make sure the band is long enough so that you can modify the amount of tension as needed. Now before moving, slightly depress your shoulders and stand in an upright posture. Now elevate your arms to just over shoulder height with your thumbs pointing up towards the ceiling. Once in position, slowly move your arms outward away from your body and then return to the starting position. Make sure you maintain this upright posture without leaning back throughout the exercise. Next, we will be focusing on the serratus anterior muscle. This muscle is another key mover that plays an important role in promoting shoulder blade stability with movement, helping to reduce strain through the rotator cuff. While standing, press the band forward, but make sure you don't push too much where the shoulder becomes rounded. This is a common mistake that people make when targeting this muscle. Remember, we want to train our shoulders how to stabilize in a more neutral and centered position so that the joint and muscles perform optimally. So push just enough where the shoulder remains in neutral while still having tension on the band. You may need to play around with your standing position as needed. While maintaining this tension on the band, slowly draw the ABCs in big capital letters. This is going to create a nice dynamic exercise, really focusing on serratus anterior control through multiple planes of movement. Well, there you have it, the only 4 advanced rotator cuff exercises you'll ever need. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Physio Show. You can show support for the channel by giving this video a like and hitting the subscribe button so you can stay up to date on everything you need to know about your body, how it works, and what it needs to keep moving.